What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fifth Down Territory, sponsored by Stadium Rant. Hopefully, everybody, all jokes aside, before we get started, everybody in the path of this upcoming hurricane and then the last hurricane, hope you all doing well, hunkered down. Our boy Blake down there in Tampa is crazy. He tried to evac. Stuff didn't kind of go his way, so he's chilling down there. So y'all keep him in your thoughts and prayers. But
yeah, for what it's worth, there's mandatory evacuations for anyone who's in a mobile home unit or in evacuation zone A or zone B in Tampa. I am in zone D, which is considered a green area, which is the lowest risk. I'm on the second floor. I have a parking garage, so even if there is flooding, I can get to higher ground very easily. This is a very new building. This building is like 5 or 6 years old, so it's up to Category 5 standards. We're expecting Category 3 landfall. Might lose power for a bit, but everything's going to be just fine.
Like Lamar Jackson said to Sam Hubbard, "Can't touch this," and the play goes on.
Yeah, that game was electric.
Yeah, my opener was going to be, and just like the Chiefs, just like the Bengals Ravens, we're letting it all hang out. But I thought maybe that gave the wrong impression. I will say, like, I needed that game, honestly, to feel like this season isn't one of the worst NFL seasons I've ever watched. I'm so tired of 20-point games. I'm so tired of 20-point games. Like, I love defense, but man, why is every game like 17 to 20 points scored?
Because of I think it's because of the amount of too high being played, and the offenses are reacting to the deep ball not being available to them, and they're taking more dink and dunk stuff. They're giving the running backs more carries, I think defensive coordinators have finally caught up to what offensive coordinators have been doing the past couple of years. Now it's time again for offenses to reinvent themselves one more time and get ahead for a few more years. Like, it's that cycle of defense finally caught up. Now offense has to figure out a new thing to kind of wrap their heads around.
Well, here's my thing is, you have all these guys running a Shanahan style system, but the Packers, I feel like, are the only people using motion. Like, LaFleur is one of the best in the league at creating mismatches. Him and Kevin O'Connell are using motion to create mismatches for their superstar players. And then I watch these other, even Shanahan's not using motion as much as I wish Shanahan would. You invented it, my brother in Christ. Use it. It's actually just
I mean, I think Mike McDaniels runs a lot of it, but again, we're seeing the issue of not having at least a average to suitable quarterback in a system like that, because they have all these weapons and they really still aren't playing all that well. I know the ground game got going against the Patriots because of course it did, but
yeah,
it's these weapons that they have are neutralized. So you need to have a quarterback who can take advantage of that motion and those weapons.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about all of this, but let's get into our intro stuff. Let's do biggest surprise of the week, overreaction, underreaction, and certified sicko all together. You don't mind if I go first on this one?
Go for it.
Mix it up a little bit. All right, my biggest surprise of the week is Salah getting canned. 5 weeks into the season, they're 2-3. I feel like they've been somewhat competitive, and I feel like the offense is more of the issue than the defense. So I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit surprised, to say the least, that he's already gone. I figured maybe, week 8, maybe you're talking about it then. But, I mean, 5 weeks in is kind of crazy.
Did you see the background stuff of it? That he might have wanted to get rid of Hackett, and then all of a sudden he got fired? So, there's that whole angle. I don't know how true that is, but
I've seen all kinds of stuff. I saw he got escorted out of the building by security and wasn't allowed to address the players. I've seen, and I'm hearing that's not true. I mean, the Jets are just a poorly run org. No matter how you want to look at it, I don't think
Woody Johnson is the owner.
And I think that's kind of a surprise to me. My overreaction of the week: people are overreacting to the Chiefs. I'm seeing things like the Chiefs are destined for a three-peat. This might be the most boring, and this is not like they're a good team, okay? I'm not going to underplay the fact that being 5-0 is impressive. I'm just saying, like, this is probably the most boring Chiefs team I've seen in a couple years. And if nobody can knock them off the pedestal this year, just sign up the dynasty because they're only going to, like, this is key injuries to key players. Like, if they cannot be derailed and stopped this year, I just don't see a lot of hope for it. So I think the Phoenix rises from the ashes. I think somebody stops the three-peat this year. That's my overreaction. Is I don't think the Chiefs are as good as people think they are. My certified sicko of the week is Lamar Jackson. That man was playing out of his mind. You could put Joe Burrow in there. You could put anybody from this game in there. But him stiff-arming Sam Hubbard and then throwing all the way across his body to the middle of the end zone to get a touchdown to Isaiah Likely, that play alone lands you sicko of the week. So he is my sicko.
Yeah. I love that. I'll go second real quick. Obviously, I wrote my stuff in before the Drake May news, so Bahookie, I'll let you have that, and we can expand on it when you talk about it. But my biggest surprise right now,
I'll just do that. I'll just do that one right now. Show them your jersey. Show them your jersey. Show them your jersey.
Flex on them.
Okay, so yeah, my biggest surprise, that guy right there, starter of the Patriots. All right, you continue, Lamb.
So yeah, I wanted to bring light like the amount of hate that Daniel Jones gets. I don't really think it's warranted. Like over the last week 1 was not very good, but now we figured out he played the Vikings, who have a really good defense, who cause a lot of turnovers, pressures, and confuse young quarterbacks, old quarterbacks. They just have a good damn defense. And he threw those 2 picks. The last 3 weeks, he's averaged 70.2% completion rating, and he's had 258 passing yards per game in those 3 games. That was like total yards a couple years ago with him rushing and passing. So I feel like they've found what he's comfortable with throwing the football. He's only thrown 1 interception since his 2 in week 1. And he hasn't been perfect, but I don't think he's been like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I think he's been absolutely serviceable now that he has some weapons around him. And Daboll is a good coach. So I don't think he deserves the hate that he gets. Is he paid more than he should be? Of course. Is he the best quarterback in the league? No, but I think he's a very average quarterback and get the job done with better pieces around him.
Yeah.
And then my underreaction actually ties into the Drake May stuff. How dumb do the Patriots look with Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix are out there winning football games in imperfect situations, albeit those situations are better than the ones the Patriots have right now, but they're imperfect and they were tough to start, and they've all kind of developed a little bit and gotten a little bit better each week. And now they're starting to look like good football teams. Jaden Daniels is 4-1. Caleb Williams is 3-2. Bo Nix, I hate the guy. Not personally. I just don't like what he does on the football field. Don't think he's that good. He's out there. Yeah, that's fine. He's out there winning games. I don't really love the overreaction about the Cowboys being back after a 3-point victory against a football team who really still doesn't know how to score. Like the Steelers have been better with Justin Fields, but they're still not excellent on offense. And the Cowboys kind of barely scrape by there. I think once they're going to play the Lions this week and get smacked in the mouth by a good football team.
Yeah, I would like to quickly touch on one of these points. All right, you talked about Bo Nix winning football games. I don't think the Patriots and the Broncos situations are incredibly far apart. I do think the Broncos have some better pieces, but like Ramondre to me is equal to or better than any running back the Broncos have.
Hunter Henry is like a top pass catcher on the Broncos, I would say.
Yeah. And so they have Cortland Sutton. You guys, I think are lacking like a good serviceable wide receiver one argument guy. But like lockdown corners, like I know Gonzo's not Pat Surtain, but like you have a lockdown corner.
I think we have better depth.
Defensive-minded coach. Yeah, you guys have a good defense. So the offensive situation really to me comes down to line. And I just don't think they're that different. I think if Bo Nix can do this, Drake May can do this.
Well, the thing that when I wrote in my article that I wrote today recently, it's about Jacoby Brissett cannot get once he makes the decision, his passing motion is not fast enough. He has this like long wind up when he makes a throw, so like it takes him longer to get rid of the ball. Therefore, behind a shitty offensive line, you need to get rid of the ball sooner than that. So Drake May has a quicker release in his throwing mechanics than Jacoby Brissett. I think that's one thing that puts to that. And the other thing is mobility. Like Drake May can get out and move around and make use of a broken play. Jacoby Brissett cannot capitalize on those situations very often, and I think that's the difference. Yeah, the offensive line sucks. I think Drake May is more suited to play behind a bad offensive line than Jacoby Brissett is. And then my certified sicko of the week is Jamar Chase. That dude is. We all thought he forgot how to play football because he wanted more money. Nah, that man should be paid however much money he wants because he's that goddamn good at football. All right. All right, somebody else can go.
And he's still only second in the league in receiving yards, so that's crazy.
Yeah, because Nico Collins be going off. I hope he's okay, by the way. Bahookie, go for it.
All right. Well, so biggest surprise I already did. I kind of wanted to circle back to what Louie said about Salah, and we were talking about the bad ownership of the Jets. I think it was last year. Sauce Gardner had the female rapper Sexy Red on the sideline, and Woody Johnson took a picture with her, and someone made a meme, and it said, "How is Woody Johnson the funnier name of the two between Woody Johnson and anyways, they're a sideshow. I totally agree. And what we're witnessing is Aaron Rodgers becoming the first player coach since Bill Russell.
But not nearly as successful.
Yeah. Or maybe LeBron and back in Miami, people used to say, because Spoelstra was young and people didn't really know what he was about at that time. I digress. We're talking about the wrong sports. Overreactions, underreactions here. Overreaction. Fire McDermott. This has been one that Bills fans have been talking about a lot. Specifically,
Fire McDermott.
Well,
silly.
It's
That's
because
insane.
we've had a lot of losses that we've only had that are in like really close games. And a lot of the time it's because of like one or two little things. And it's like, no, the season is not lost here, but we always go out in the divisional round, specifically against Andy Reid. Like when it gets like to like those really big games and or overtime games. Josh Allen has yet to win an overtime game. I want to say he's 0-6 in overtime games, which means McDermott is 0-6 with him. And like it comes down like when it really comes down to the nitty gritty, like it always ends the same way. And the big reason it's an overreaction is because the Bills owner Terry Pegula is not that great of an owner, if I'm being quite frank. Sean McDermott is the only hire he ever made that was worth a damn. If you look at the Buffalo Sabres, who he owned before them, they haven't been to the playoffs since 2011. That's the longest active playoff drought in American sports, I want to say. And before Sean McDermott, he hired Rex Ryan. And our general manager, Brandon Beane, was hired because of his relationship with Sean McDermott. So the faith in Terry Pegula to bring someone on, I've seen Ben Johnson and Robert Saleh as a head coach DC combo. That was one that's floating around. I don't know. Like, let's get back to basics here and just go week by week. That's my overreaction. Underreaction. The way the Falcons have been able to win some big games with some late game heroics against both the Eagles and against the Bucs here, like same deal. Like I thought both games were done and dusted, honestly, and like stopped watching. And I really need to watch the Falcons in the fourth quarter. That's what I've learned.
Oh, I lost like $130 because of that spike and Falcons subsequent win. If the Bucks would have won, I would have hit my parlay. But continue.
That's football life in a nutshell, right there.
That was cooked.
Books
And certified sicko of the week was one that I kind of didn't. You had. I also had. I went right back to Derrick Henry this year. He didn't get the touchdown, but that run he had on the second to last play that set up the game winning field goal. Yeah, I was at work with my coworker who's a Ravens fan, and I'm like, I know how this feels. I'm having PTSD from the first play from scrimmage. And yeah, he is still that guy.
Word. All right, Nolan, go for it. I'll do the pissy pants player of the week, and then we can do the Thursday. We can get into our slate.
Yep, I'll go.
Good choice. Good choice. You're on a roll with this one.
All right. Biggest surprise. This kind of goes against what you said, Tyler. Dallas showing that they can find ways to win a ball game even with a lot of superstars out. They're missing their two best edge rushers. Their third string edge rusher comes in, hurts his knee very quickly into the game. They still find a way. They still were able to get pressure on Justin Fields when it mattered. And then Dak Prescott loses his starting left tackle in the game, and he's got to work with backups. And CeeDee Lamb doesn't touch the ball, and they still find a way to win a game. So I definitely think that was a nice surprise to see that, all right, maybe not all hope is lost with all these injuries we have, but we'll see what Dallas can do. Like you said, Detroit's coming up. They're healthy. They're hungry. They're a way better team, so we'll see what they do. Overreaction. I actually had the Commanders being NFC favorites. I pumped the brakes on it for now. It's early, but they are playing great football. I'll give them that. But saying that they're going to win the whole NFC right now, I think is a little far out there. But they're still playing good football. Underreaction. This goes against Louie, talking about a three-peat. I still think the Chiefs are really good because of how they are able to work around their situation by losing Rashee Rice, losing Isaiah Pacheco, losing their left tackle as well, and having to bring a rookie back in. So being able to find different situations and how to win, I think just kind of speaks to the level of championship caliber that franchise and that team is on, that they can adjust on the fly like that and still go win a game and look good doing it. So Mahomes didn't look great, but they still found a way to win. So
Travis Kelce is
yards.
Travis Kelce not washed, by the way, guys, not washed whatsoever. They just had him on mothballs till they needed him. Straight up, they're like, we can use Rashee Rice. We don't even really need him until the playoffs, and we'll start using him. And then now they need him, and he's fine. He's ready to go. Wide open all the time for whatever reason.
Yep. And there's talks that, Rashee Rice is out for the rest of the regular season, obviously, with his surgery. But they're talking like if he progresses quickly enough, a playoff reappearance could happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's okay because Juju Smith-Schuster's back on the team, and he's going to look like a stud when he couldn't eat. Like, he got half the amount of yards that he had last year for the Patriots Monday night.
Yep.
So that's sick. Anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
Who's your certified sicko? And then we'll do the next thing and get into our game picks.
Yes, sir. So sicko of the week, I actually had Tank Bigsby. Hey,
very good.
Step up to the plate when you need it. ETN has not been stellar. And then an injury just kind of gifts Tank Bigsby into a perfect situation. A Jaguars team looking for their first win, and Tank Bigsby goes out and balls out with 2 touchdowns and 100 yards. So Tank is my sicko of the week.
I like it. Word. So now this week on the Pissy Pants Player of the Week award, it's going to George Pickens. George Pickens for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Homie's pissed. Let's just put it that way. Like, he's just standing on the sideline. He's losing out snaps to Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin, which personally I don't think is great for your football team. But, like, he's clear. Something's clearly up there. Like, there's this disconnect between him and Tomlin. I'm not sure. Like, it'll probably get figured out. But for this week, he is the Pissy Pants Player of the Week. He is very upset. And yeah,
All right,
I
let's rock and
do think
roll
they
into
need to
game
use them
picks.
more.
Next week, we're going to come and let you guys know where we're at with these picks. We are tracking them. We just don't have totals right now, but we'll have totals next week for everybody. I'm pretty sure I'm winning. We'll
You
see.
are.
I'm crushing it, I think. I felt good about last week. And anyway, Seahawks Niners is what we open with. I'm going to roll these real quick. I'm taking Niners to win, Seahawks to cover at a 3.5 line. I've got George Kittle as my pop-off player of the game, and then Ken Walker as my touchdown. The Seahawks have been struggling against the middle of the field coverage. I think the Lions kind of showed that, and the Giants exploited it. I expect them to try and get it right, but nobody's better between the numbers than Purdy and Kittle. It's just a great connection point for them. I think that's a matchup that the Seahawks are not looking forward to this week.
Word. I'll go next. I have the Seahawks winning this game, actually. The Seahawks covering plus 3.5. I don't think the 49ers have really looked all that right. They have a Patriots win stuffed in between two bad losses, and I just don't think they look right. I think the Seahawks are coming off a bitter taste in their mouth of a loss to the Giants. I think the Cardinals lost a little bit better as far as like terms of who you're playing, but it's also one of that you lose by one in the way that the 49ers lost. They might have a hard time getting up for this next game. I think Ken Walker is going to be a big part of this. I think that the 49ers have kind of struggled against the run. If I'm not mistaken, Hargreave is down as well. Their defensive line is not 100%. And I think Brandon Ayuk's going to be going to get in the end zone. He had a massive yardage game last week. He kind of looked like the player we all kind of expected him to be. And yeah, I think he scores this week against the Seattle defense that, you know, like you said, is vulnerable in the middle. He runs a lot of crossing routes and ins and kind of hits the middle of the field as well.
All right.
Bahookie, you want to go next?
Yeah, no problem. I've got Niners to win, Niners to cover. Brock Purdy is my stud of the game, and like Jordan Mason to punch one in. Been pretty reliable so far.
Word.
Yep.
Go for it, Nolan. Then you could roll us into London game.
Yep.
London.
So Niners to win, Niners to cover here. I'm on the same boat here with Blake, except he's my stud. I have Jordan Mason. I think they're going to try to utilize him a lot against Seattle, much like New York just did with their backup running backs. Without Devin Singletary, they still look good. But my anytime touchdown, I think Kenneth Walker is still pretty much guaranteed to punch one in if Seattle can get a red zone trip. So rolling into the London game, Jags and Bears, 8:30 a.m. early one, but Bears to win, Bears to cover in this one for me. I have Caleb Williams as my stud of the game. I think he has found some kind of stride that he's been searching for in the first few weeks. I think he found it, and I think he could continue it here with the Jags. But I do have Brian Thomas Jr. as my anytime. Seems like he's becoming an automatic touchdown scorer for Jacksonville every week so far, and will continue.
Go for it, Bahookas.
Yeah, I also got the Bears here to win and to cover. They've been looking pretty impressive here, and was a rough couple first weeks, but DeAndre Swift looking like an RB1.
Finally.
He's looking like an RB1. It was a little bit touch and go there, but I like them to continue that and try and feed into that and continue to take a little bit of pressure off of their young quarterback. I still think which is going to allow him to continue to grow and help one of their other guys, young guys, continue to grow. Rome Odunze is my anytime touchdown scorer.
Word. I'm actually going to take the Jags here. The Jags to win. They're playing at home in London. They fare much better in London than they do in Jacksonville or anywhere else in the United States. So I also kind of think Trevor Lawrence found a little something this weekend. I know the Indy's secondary and defense isn't that great, but this is the first time he's looked like a competent quarterback in a little bit. And I think he has. I like you kind of said with Caleb, he's starting to find his rhythm a little bit. Evan Ingram's going to be back in this game. BTJ just had another breakout game. Christian Kirk's still a good player, and also just with the way this year in the NFL has been, I just sort of feel like if we were all on the Bears, the Jags are winning this game, and like they're doing it convincingly, like they did the Buffalo last year. Like nobody thought they were going to win that game, and they played very well. Real quick on DeAndre Swift, he played the Panthers, and then the week before that, he played the another not great defense, as far as if I'm remembering correctly. So
he did what he was asked to do, though.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, like Jacksonville has a little. They're definitely better in the front seven than they are in their coverage. So it might be a little bit more difficult for him to find space in this game. Go for it, Louie.
Yeah, I'm taking Bears to.
I'm sorry. I have Trevor Lawrence being the guy, the sicko of this game, and Brian Thomas Jr. touchdown scorer. My bad.
Yeah, I've got Bears to win and cover. And I think Doug Peterson gets fired after this loss, potentially. He should if they lose again. I've got Brian Thomas Jr. as my sicko of the game, but I've got Cole Kmet as my touchdown scorer. That connection's been heating up a little bit, and without their linebacker, Aluakon, I think the middle of the field open is going to be a nice sweet spot for Kmet to get a tutty. Rolling into Cards Packers, this is to me one of the hardest games of the week to predict, even though the line is so large. I'm going Packers to win and Cards to cover. And then I'm going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. Has a game. I don't care if Jair's back or not. I think this kid's showing it, and I think he'll have a great game against the Packers. And then I've got Josh Jacobs punching one in. I don't know why. He just feels kind of due. Jaden Reed obviously feels like a really easy choice here, but I like Jacobs to take a touchdown in.
Word. I have the Packers to win, the Cardinals to cover +5. I think this is going to be a great game. I have Jaden Reed as my sicko. Yeah, I think that's kind of easy. He's kind of turned into one of the, I would say, top pass catchers in for this season right now. Like he's explosive. He makes plays. He plays bigger than his size.
I think he is what people wanted George Pickens to be. I know that sounds stupid, but like dude is aggressive at the catch point. And that was supposed to be the big selling point of Pickens that I don't feel like we've seen, but like throwing to double coverage to Jaden Reed and letting he's like 5'11", I think.
Yeah, he's not big, but he plays way bigger than he is.
Play the ball and he comes down with it. Like that's what you want.
You want to know who he reminds me of for real? Like now that I think about it,
gives me a little Dez.
He I think Steve Smith. That's who he reminds me of. Like he's just feisty, he's small, but he plays big. He has a sick vertical, and he's really good at the catch point. Like he's shifty. Like but yeah, and then Trey McBride, I think, gets into the end zone here. He had one this weekend that on a really nice like corner route to the left end of the end zone, and he couldn't control it when he hit the ground. I think they go to him more in the end zone as well, like kind of diversify.
Fantasy team would love that.
Same. I have a lot of Trey McBride.
My fantasy teams would like
that. Yeah. So Nolan, you want to go next? Then Bahookie, you can finish it and bring us into the next game.
Yep, I can do that. Packers to win here, Cardinals to cover. I'm kind of along the same lines here. This is going to be a good game. As much as I don't want it to be, it'll be a good game. I have Josh Jacobs as my stud. I agree with you, Lou. I think he's due. He's getting the yards, but he's not getting the touchdowns. So I think this is going to be a nice little game for him to really, really stand out. But I have my anytime touchdown scorer as Tucker Kraft. He had one hell of a game.
Yeah,
tight end 3 on the season.
Choice.
Solid waiver wire pickup for me, won me a game. And so I'll roll with him again. I think Jordan Love and him have a connection that they're building, and they've got a nice addition in Tucker Kraft. So that's my touchdown score.
Yeah,
Luke Musgrave was the fraud. Tucker Kraft was the real deal.
I mean, I got it right. Musgrave a fraud. I think
he's actually a good player.
He's a good blocking tight end. But Tucker Kraft has really just kind of come out the last couple of weeks, and you're like, okay, like this kid's got some juice, and you just got to let the hot hand roll. Like you can't keep splitting snaps when a dude's playing like that.
No, absolutely not. And I hope Musgrave gets moved, honestly, and they get a different blocking tight end, because I do think he is actually a good player. It's just like a lot of people were picking between the two of them, and I had a lot of Musgrave. So like now I'm just like, damn, I do have Kraft in some areas, but I'm in 65 leagues. I have to have some exposure of everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy person.
All right.
Bahookie.
So we all had the Cardinals covering here. I went with them to win. This is no doubt going to be a tough game to go in and win, especially following like beating the Niners. Like that's a huge win, and it's really hard to follow up huge wins with another huge win. Going to Lambeau, no matter how good or bad the Packers are, and they're not bad, it's a tough place to go win. I chose Kyler Murray as my stud of the game to go and do it, and James Conner is that perennial short yardage threat.
He's a beast.
Never gonna feel bad about giving the ball to him in short yardage. And then moving right along into the next one, we've got Texans at Pats. So the Texans kind of made me a little bit sad. I did make
It was a good game.
I wasn't that far off on my pick. I chose it to be an overtime game. I was a 15.
It should have been.
And did I not mention in last week's broadcast that kickers always make their career longs against the Buffalo Bills?
You did say that. I do remember that.
I said
I don't think 59's his career long.
I don't know if it's his career.
He had a great day.
Okay,
he went and have a day.
59 is an absurd kick to win it on. All right, and
Oh.
I'm not happy for you, you asshole.
You're happy for me because we can't hurt you.
But nonetheless, so I got the Texans winning and covering here against the Pats. I went with Danielle Hunter as my sicko of the game because he was one of the guys who really jumped off the screen last week. I think that he was one of the and that was one of the things I said in the offseason leading up, and like how the Texans schedule is going to be harder, but they pressed a lot of the right buttons. People were obviously like focusing on Stephon Diggs and whatnot, but you guys really made some incredible additions to your defensive line, and you guys dominated us at the line of scrimmage in that game. We had like 7 or 8 plays for negative yards, and Danielle Hunter was a big reason for that. Like usually when Josh is scrambling out to his right, you like that. Like that's when he starts to like really create those plays that like you've never seen before. But when Danielle Hunter is the guy who's chasing him down, you start to see sugar high Josh. And he makes it. And he didn't have any interceptions. He had 2 at the end of the second quarter that should have been. To Al-Shaair, your
Aziz. He had 2 back-to-back to Aziz that should have been,
It should have been picks. So he could have. He's my honorable mention for Sicko. And then here, Drake May, welcome to the NFL, young man. Derek Stingley Jr. is who Louie has advertised, and I like his odds. Louie played the Deron Bland pick 6 and made some money last year. This might not be a bad weekend to play the Derek Stingley pick 6.
I think I might put a little bit on him and on Lassiter.
That's all I got.
Go for it, Nolan.
Yep. So I'm going Texans everything here. Literally across the board. I don't have anything in the Pats' favor. CJ Stroud for my stud. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Totally fine. Haven't given you any reason to say otherwise.
And then I'm just kind of in woe of who I want to pick here. I put all 3 of the Texans running backs down because it's whoever starts. I think one of them could get a touchdown. Yeah, Adam says I'm going to get kicked off before next. But any of those running backs,
Chiefs fan.
Yeah,
I think we're going to let it slide.
Whoever is the starting running back, touchdown scorer for me.
Louie, you want to go for it, and then I can talk about it?
I'm taking Texans to win and cover just because I don't think they're going to go easy on this. on this young Patriots offense. I think D'Amico's going to keep grinding and keep playing these guys because he hasn't seen the performance that he wants. And I don't think that bodes well for like them playing soft coverage or anything like that. Like he's going to want these guys to play like it's Josh Allen back there. So I'm taking them to win and cover. I'm taking Stephon Diggs as my player of the game. I think with Nico Collins out, he's going to have to step up and be an 8 to 10 catch guy. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Tank Dell so far this year, unfortunately.
He torches us.
And he knows this team too is the other thing. And then I'm taking Dalton Schultz as my touchdown scorer.
I love that.
I think he's big due.
He's gotten
downed on like the 3-yard line in 3 different games this season. I think
that's
like
just
a
such
nice
a classic
4th down conversion, 3rd down conversion, and then he just short.
That's just such a classic person to score against the Patriots because like they might get Stephon Diggs covered, they might get Tank Dell covered, they might have the running game covered. They won't cover Dalton Schultz. Like that's the dude who will break it. But I have the Texans winning here. I actually have the Pats covering the 7. I think that Drake May might give us some life. Maybe this is just optimistic. I know it's not a great place for him to be starting.
A touchdown is a big line. It's always a big line. I never like taking a -7 on anything.
Yeah, I just
on the road.
You get a little life. Like you might get a little bit more creativity. You don't have any film on Drake. Like things just might be a little bit weird. I do think CJ Stroud has a big day. I'm not a fan of our pass rush right now. I'm not a fan of our linebacker play. Our secondary is starting to kind of put it together, but if we can't get to Stroud and he has all day to make throws, we can't cover like that. I do have Drake May to score a touchdown here. I think that when they get like the Pats have been able to get into the red zone, like not often, but like enough this season where they should have more points and they can't score because they don't have a difference maker. And I think May's legs makes him a difference maker in the red zone, and he might just pop off for an RPO or something that nobody's really expecting, and he kind of slithers in there. I best case scenario that he shows some flashes, makes this somewhat of a game, and then loot like obviously winning would be best case scenario, but if like we make it close and he's like, yo, I can hang with CJ Stroud in my first start ever, like I'll be thrilled. So like I'd be very, very, very happy with that. I think that's going to happen? Not really. Is that something that could happen? Possibly. We can move on now. Eagles, Browns, Eagles by 1 million. Barkley, best player. AJ Brown's
I put Eagles by 1K, baby.
The Browns could not get enough points in this game for me to bet on them. They could not. They could. No way. No.
This spread only being 8.5 is kind of wild. Like, I know I said more than a touchdown is a lot, but man, I do not like the Browns offense right now.
It's bad. It's like putrid bad. Like their offensive line is about the same as our offensive line, and Deshaun Watson is honestly he's similar to Jacoby Brissett, and he has kind of a longer windup. He takes a longer time to throw. He's just more mobile. And I think that's the problem with this offense. The Browns need to be led by like a Joe Flacco type of quarterback who's on time, in rhythm, doing what the play is supposed to be doing. And that's just like not
Mullet's got some breaking news for us down here.
Yeah, I'm verifying that right now. Yep. It says Jets Johnson urges D.E. Reddick to end holdout is what Schefter just tweeted. So I don't know that that's he's ending his holdout. The owner is urging him to end his holdout and report to the team.
Wording is interesting there. But yeah.
I mean, it's obviously substantial enough that Shefty tweeted it. So
okay. Yeah, Louie, you want
All right, Nolan.
We appreciate the heads up because I mean, like he did tweet it, so you got to talk about it. But yeah, hopefully he does go. Eagles by 1 billion. I have taken Saquon Barkley here. I just feel like this defensive line is getting punished because the offense can't stay on the field and they wear down. And then I am taking Devontae Smith to score a touchdown. Coming back, I think A.J. Brown's going to get a lot of attention here. He was great as a wide receiver one in Brown's absence, and I think I think that connection time that he and Hurts had coming back into this game, if he plays, which he's supposed to, I think he'll find the end zone.
It's just such a bad look for the Browns. Like the Eagles off the bye with everybody coming back healthy, like such a bad spot for them. Nolan, you want to go next?
I genuinely, so they do have their own first rounder for the first time in multiple years. I don't know what are they 1-4 right now?
Yeah, they're in the top 5 right now for sure.
They are 1-4. And I just want let me just I know we're trying to run through this, but I'm gonna read you guys some of their upcoming games. You tell me when they get their next win, okay?
Yeah.
They play the Eagles, the Bengals, the Ravens.
None of those.
Maybe
Chargers,
against the Bengals.
Maybe.
Chargers, Saints.
It depends if Derek Carr's not playing.
I think over that timeline they get one. You don't like their odds in any of those, but I think they get one. Maybe we'll see game by game. Anyway,
the Browns Bengals one though, it just kind of feels like what you said about the Jags Colts last week. I feel like the Browns always win that game. Like randomly.
I was right about that too, wasn't I?
You were. You absolutely.
I told you guys they don't win in Jacksonville. It's like a 10-year streak or something stupid.
It continues.
And them losing opening.
That one wasn't that far off from a tie either. I chose that as a tie.
That was close.
There's worse tie picks you could make.
They really looked at this game and said zero defense.
Okay.
Also,
Nolan,
I want it noted because I
Nolan, take the floor.
We're skewing. The guy who got cooked on that BTJ touchdown did not make it to Monday. Dallas Flowers was released by the Colts Sunday night. So that's just a tough spot to be in, man. Double L's. He might have made it to Monday, but he is no longer on the team. Dallas Flowers, I think that's who it was. You're done. Got cooked.
Brutal. It's brutal.
Man. All right. Eagles everything. Saquon. I doubled up for stud and touchdown score.
There's no reason he's not going to just go crazy in this game.
Did y'all see what Stephen A. Smith said about Deshaun Watson on Get Up this morning or whatever?
No.
He said Deshaun Watson is awful. If he could be arrested for being awful, I would make sure it happened. So, yeah.
Well, anyways, I also got Eagles pretty much everything here. Only thing I deferred on was I went with Jalen Hurts as my anytime touchdown scorer because I still think he's a perennial tush-put threat. And that's what I said, and I meant it. I'm not taking it back. Saints Bucks. I went Bucks to win, Bucks to cover. Coming off of that heartbreaker. I was debating between Chris Godwin and Mike Evans as my player of the game here. Mike Evans has really been turning it up. I went with Chris Godwin here, but honestly, take your pick. And Bucky Irving is the anytime touchdown scorer. I like this guy in the short yardage for him.
More Nolan, go for it.
Yep. I got Bucks to win, Bucks to cover here. Derek Carr is not going to be playing in this game, so I think that spread might go up just a little bit. They said he's out multiple weeks with the oblique strain. Yep. So I think Bucks
right now.
Yeah, I think Bucks is going to go up a little bit. Baker Mayfield for my stud. And then I have Mike Evans as my touchdown scorer. So, Bahookie, you and I are on the same thought process here. I think he's going to continue to eat up in the red zone.
Yeah, he's an easy pick there.
I have the Bucks minus 2.5. I figured this before Carr's injury as well. I just think the Bucks are a better team. I think the Falcons got one over on them. I mean, Bucky Irvin doesn't fumble that ball. Like the Bucks win easily. They just run the clock out and that game's over.
That's tough for him as a rookie.
Yeah, it's definitely like I don't think he has a fumbling issue, but that's definitely a tough play. But I think the Bucks are better than what their record is. I think the Saints, they've lost some of their shine at this point. Now Derek Carr's hurt, their offensive line's banged up. doesn't look good for them in this one. Louie, you want to go for it?
Yep, I'm taking Bucks now. I was going to take Saints, but if Derek Carr's out multiple weeks, I'm going Bucks all the way. Give me Bucky Irving as the player of the game and Cade Otton as my touchdown scorer. Showing some tight end love this week. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but tight ends
Love
matter. Titans Colts. I'm actually going to go Colts here. Richardson's coming back. I think he looked good against the Steelers defense in the couple drives that he played. So I'm going Colts to win and obviously to cover the spread. I'm going Josh Downs as my player of the game. He's really been heating up lately in this scheme. And then give me EJ Speed as my anytime touchdown scorer. Linebacker, really fast. I think he catches a bad Will Levis hospital ball and cribs it.
Word.
I got inspired on that by Bahookie, not by Bahookie, by Lamb picking a defensive player for a touchdown. I just went a different direction.
I'm using my tie here. I'm going to use my tie here in this game. Will Levis versus Anthony Richardson. No one can win this game. Neither one of these teams are going to be able to win this game. So that means I have the Titans +1. Both defenses will be the sicko of the week. Both defenses. Hell yeah. Dude, the picks, fumbles, weird
Colts defense. I mean, like, I know Will Levis is bad, but this Colts defense is buns.
No, Will Levis is worse, and he's going to make a couple of plays that make.
Might I give you Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears?
You may, and I may give you Will Levis still having the ball every single time they run the play. Mistakes will happen. And then I have Kenny Moore as my anytime touchdown scorer.
Kenny Moore's a good safety.
He also plays a lot of inside, slot nickel cornerback.
Kind of slot,
So like they're gonna want to utilize like Tyler Boyd, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley out of that slot role. I think they're going to try and like pick on that role, and I don't think Kenny Moore is the one Will Levis should be picking on. I think it's gonna go the other way around. But
Nick just said the best QB on both teams is Joe Flacco.
That is true. That is
not true. I don't like Anthony Richardson either, but he's better than Joe Flacco.
Not right this second.
I don't know, man. That was some of the worst quarterback. I mean, I know they scored a bunch, but it's not like I don't think Flacco threw it over 10 yards.
He looked okay. Yeah, he hit Alec Pierce for like a 60-yard touchdown.
Did he? I missed that play. I'll have to go check that one out.
He played well. Flacco played well for sure. I mean, Richardson obviously gives you more potential, but like Flacco just at this moment has a better arm and a better like mental for the game. He is not playing like Jacoby Brissett. He's throwing for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns almost off the couch anywhere he plays. Like Cleveland off the couch, word, let's go win 4 games, bring you into the playoffs, and I'm going to be a beast through that whole segment. But anyway, who is next? Nolan, you up?
Yes, I think so. So I have Colts to win here, Colts to cover. I actually switched this just because I don't want to dabble into the unknown of quarterbacks for Indy right now, whoever it is playing. So I have Michael Pittman as my stud. Whoever it is, I think they're going to try to find him early and often. But my anytime touchdown score, again, dilemma of who's the starting running back. If it's JT, it's JT. If it's Trey Sermon, I'll take Trey Sermon. But only time will tell.
You want to talk about career plotters? What's up, Trey? How are we doing, Trey? It's okay. Go for it, Bahookus. What do you got, Colts, Titans?
Yeah, I'm kind of similar wavelength here as Nolan. Colts to win, Colts to cover. I think it's unlikely that JT comes back from a high ankle sprain here. If it at this point in the season, why? So I'm going to go with Trey Sermon as my stud of the week here, and I am going to go with Michael Pittman Jr. as my anytime touchdown scorer. He got into the end zone last week, first touchdown of the year, and he's supposed to be one of their go-to guys. I think we're going to try and ride the hot hand here, and then riding along into the game of the week, in my opinion, Ravens Commanders. Yeah, I got Ravens winning and Commanders covering, and that seems semi consistent across the board. A little bit of deferment, but I think we all agree that this is going to be a tight one, and this is going to be one of the better ones. Sticking with my certified sicko of the week, Derrick Henry. Um, I think this is how this team is going to really be a force, is letting him eat and do and be the king, and then Lamar Jackson fits in as needed. Especially against, so we're talking about two high safeties being an issue. Run the ball. I mean, like it means teams are keeping things in front of them. Like the Tampa 2 is really like one of the really popular defenses, and that just means keeping things in front of you. And how do you beat that? Two tight end sets and a strong running game. And that's what Andy Reid's been on this for years, and everyone else is just starting to figure it out. That's the issue, is they're always 2 or 3 years ahead of everyone with their 12 and 13 personnel sets. And now there's a handful of teams that are figuring that out and are now becoming competitive. And here the Chiefs are 5-0. I digress. Jaden Daniels is my anytime touchdown scorer. This is going to be a close game, and I think this one especially, like, this is one of those ones where you're going to have to get down into the trenches and earn every single one of those points.
Yep. Here, I'll go next. So Ravens to win, Commanders to cover, same wavelength. I have Lamar Jackson as my stud of the game here. While the Commanders have started to limit their opponents in some ways, they also show that they are susceptible if you have the right game plan and you can score on them. I think the Ravens are going to try to do that, and with Lamar being mobile, they have more to deal with than a typical pocket quarterback, and they've been playing pocket quarterbacks for the last couple of weeks. So they're going to have to adjust here. But I also have Brian Robinson Jr. as my anytime. I think they'll want to use him heavily down in the red zone. Don't rely on Jaden Daniels' legs as much as you would like to. Use your running backs, but at the same time, follow Bahookie's plan. Maybe a little read option into the end zone, something like that.
Go for it, Louie.
I'm going to take the Ravens to win and the Commanders to cover. I'm sticking on this train with everybody else. I've got Brian Robinson as my player of the game. I think he's going to get a lot of good mileage against a Ravens defense that is kind of right now. And then I've got Lamario Jackson scoring a touchdown. I think he's going to leap into the end zone.
Yeah, I'm actually the contrarian here. I actually think the Commanders win this game.
I don't hate that pick. I don't think it's far-fetched at all. I think this line is ludicrous. 6.5 is an insane line for how well the Commanders have been playing.
It just seems like the name recognition type of game. Like I feel like the Commanders are right in this. Like, neither secondary is good. People want to shit on the Commanders secondary. The Ravens lay up 127 yards to Rashid Rice, 110 yards to Devontae Adams, 193 yards to Jamar Chase. Like, anytime they have a top tier wide receiver to play, they leave them wide open. And Jaden Daniels has showed you, if you leave his receivers wide open, he is going to hit them for 60-yard touchdowns with no problems at all. So I have the Commanders winning, Commanders covering 6.5. Terry McLaurin's my star of the game. With the way that he's been playing with Jaden Daniels, that connection, he finally has a quarterback who's worth a damn, and he's showing his skills. And you played this secondary that just got absolutely torched by Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Yeah, that's a problem. Austin Eckler is my touchdown scorer. Don't look now, guys, but watch him play. He looks like the Austin Eckler from a couple of years ago. He's got burst. He's powerful. Like, he's been close to the end zone a couple of times. One he actually scored a couple of weeks ago on a kickoff return. They used him in the return game, and he's proved good at that as well. So I think Austin Eckler scores, and he might have a vintage Austin Eckler game, which typically comes with multiple TDs. Leading us into Panthers Falcons, trying to mix those two words
a little bit here.
Yeah, for sure. I have the Falcons winning.
Yeah,
I have Falcons winning, Panthers covering +6. I have Bijan being the stud because Panthers can't run defend, and Deontay Johnson scoring a touchdown. I just think him and Andy Dalton have a really good connection. And it's about the Falcons keep all their games close. So, Lou, you can go next.
I'm taking Falcons win and cover. Drake London is my sicko of this game, and Tyler Algier is my touchdown scorer because why the frick not? I know Bijan won't do it because they hate Bijan. So
I hate that.
Give me Tyler A.
That made me sad, but it's true. Go for it, Bahookie.
All right, I got Falcons winning. I got Panthers covering here. I got Kirk Cousins is my stud of the game. I got Chuba Hubbard as my anytime touchdown scorer.
Cool.
I like it. Go for it, Nolan.
Falcons to win, Falcons to cover. At Kirk Cousins for my stud. Franchise record in passing yards this last week. Why not do it again?
Ice that he's gonna come out with an ice pack on his shoulder.
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
Probably.
How is throwing the ball 60 times in a game with Kirk Cousins like your way to win? Like when you have that,
I said primetime Kirk's problem is we don't feature him enough, and he does it.
I guess. So Kirk Cousins for stud, Bijan for my anytime touchdown. I think I'm going against you, Louie. I think they want to get him active, and if there's anybody to do it against, might as well be against the Panthers.
They want to get him active, but they didn't involve him at all in one of the highest scoring games they're going to have this season. 500 yards, and Bijan can't get 25 receiving yards. He's a blue chip prospect.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense.
Really, I don't get it.
All right, Broncos, Chargers. Chargers to win, Chargers to cover here. Justin Herbert for stud. He's going to be a little bit more healthy. And, looking to have a bounce back game for him here. It's a division game, always weird. And Javonte Williams for my anytime touchdown score. He's starting to kind of find a rhythm in their offense. They've strayed back away from Jaleel McLaughlin, more towards Javonte. I think he's a good touchdown bet for the red zone.
Or go for it, Bahookie.
Yeah, I went in the opposite direction here. I don't even really like this Broncos team, honestly. I just feel like this is a spot for them to win. I just feel it in my gut. I want Broncos to cover. Bo Nix is my stud of the game. He's been playing some decent ball.
Yeah.
And I got Javonte Williams as my anytime touchdown scorer.
Word, Lou, you want to go?
Yep. I have the Chargers winning, but Broncos covering. Pat Surtain is my sicko of this game, and I've got J.K. Dobbins taking one in.
Word, I have the Chargers to win, Chargers to cover. Don't think this Broncos team is any good. I do think Bo Nix has elevated them a little bit, but I think it's because of Sean.
Rookie of the year.
Like, I hate it. Shut your mouth. J.K. Dobbins is going to be the sicko of this game. I think they kind of lean on him after a bye week. He's been healthy all season. They've kind of seen how he's reacted to the workload. I think they kind of ramp it up a little bit more now that he's had some big, game action. Then Lad McConkey would be my anytime touchdown scorer. You got the bye week. After the bye week, when your rookies typically start to get more touches and get more featured in your offense. And I think Lad's shown that he's worth that. Moving into Raiders, Steelers. I have the Steelers -3, Justin Fields, sicko. George Pickens to finally score a freaking touchdown. It's getting ridiculous. This Raiders team doesn't know what the only thing this Raiders team knows how to do is get the ball to Brock Bowers. And to be completely honest, that's all I need them to do.
There it is. I was hoping he would do it.
There he is. So George Pickens to score, George Pickens to finally break out of the pissy pants player of the week. Open,
that's my Raiders. Effing always, playing effing never. George Pickens. I'm going to take the Raiders in this game. Raiders to win, so Raiders obviously cover. I've got Max Crosby as my stud of the game. I wanted to be a little contrarian on this one, but I think this defense is going to get right. I just don't like what I've seen from the Steelers offense. I don't think they're going to be able to run very well on this team, and I honestly am not even convinced Justin Fields is starting this game. Kind of been
Christian Wilkins is out indefinitely right now.
I don't care. I still think
Okay.
they have good players on this team, and I think Max Crosby is going to carry.
He's a sicko for sure.
I think they'll trade Devontae Adams by this game, and I think that distraction, clearing, and maybe even getting a piece back that could play in this game might help them. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be incredibly low scoring. I'm just going to take the Raiders and Brock Bowers to get her done. And I've got Trey Tucker as my touchdown scorer.
Like Trey Tucker. Please trade Devontae Adams to the Patriots. Thank you. Go for
The
it.
crazy
Nolan.
thing would be like, what if he goes to the Steelers?
No, the Steelers have taken enough of the toys that I want this offseason. I don't need that.
Well, they wouldn't trade him right before they played him, but that'd be hilarious.
That actually would be a Raiders thing to do.
Like trade him and then have to try and cover.
Yeah, and then he just torches them in the game that he plays them in.
203.
Oh, he would do that too. He seems like the type to keep that in his notes. Nolan, go for it.
Steelers everything here. Across the board. Justin Fields for my sicko of the game. Pat Freiermuth, tight end love here. He got into the end zone against Dallas. Then nobody thought he would even get the ball near him in that game, and he got a touchdown. So why not continue it for Freiermuth?
All right. I will move it along. I have the Steelers to win. I have the Steelers to cover, and I finally got to choose TJ Watt as my sicko of the week because Lamb didn't choose him as his sicko of the week this week. So, yes, I've been waiting for this moment. My anytime touchdown scorer, Jacoby Myers, I went with for the Raiders, has really been coming on the last couple of weeks, and he's honestly been a player for the last couple of years. This was one of those guys that I'd like. Why? Yeah, the Rams face right there says it all. Like he was one of those guys who made plays for the Patriots even when they weren't good, and
now they're worse without him.
Yeah. Anyways,
could use the Jacoby Myers right about now. That'd be sick.
I mean, he's really good. He's really like underrated. Cowboys versus Lions. Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. Did I mention give me the Lions?
I don't think you said that.
Right. And 2 win, 2 cover. Jared Goff as my player of the game, and Jamo Williams as my anytime touchdown scorer.
Like that. Nolan, go for it.
Cowboys to win, Cowboys to cover. I'll go against the grain here. Love my boys. Dak Prescott, I think, wants to try to continue to earn that $60 million a year. Why not go be a Lions team that you know is probably a little bit better for your resume than the Steelers? And tight end you love again here for any time. Jake Ferguson up the middle, up the seam, wherever you want it. I think he is a good red zone threat still.
Word, Louie, go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions in this one to cover and win. And I'm going to tell you why. David Montgomery is my player of this game. They've been bad against the run. They looked better against the Steelers, but I think some of that was weather and them knowing what was coming in a game where
good.
Jared Goff, Najee's not good. Jared Goff coming off of a perfect game, and you're set to tee it up. I think the play action is going to be lethal here because I don't think they stop Montgomery. So off of that, I think play action fake, back right corner of the end zone to Sam Laporta.
Nice. Love that.
Lions hurricane warnings, aren't you?
It's the same thing I told you earlier. Mobile home, zone A and zone B. I'm zone D. Moving on.
I have the Lions to win. Lions to cover -3. If you're interested, take the alternate line of -10. I think they're going to smoke the Cowboys. Not going to lie. I think Ben Johnson is going to be the player of this game. He's not playing, but like he is just going to outfox the old dude used to be the coach of the Vikings, Mike Zimmer. There we go. Yeah, he's going to get cooked by Ben Johnson this week. Yeah. Monty's scoring a touchdown. He's actually scored a touchdown in like 89% of the games he's played on the Lions. This guy's been about as consistent as they come since joining Detroit. Even on the Bears, he was a really good running back who was on a shitty Bears team. Like they let him go, and now he's just Mr. Consistent. Moving right into Giants Bengals, another contrarian pick for me here. I have the Giants winning this game. I have the Giants covering plus 3.5. I talked about how I feel Daniel Jones has played this year, which is perfectly fine. He hasn't been excellent, but he's been better than he has showed in the course of the last year or so. I think Brian Burns is going to be the sicko of this game. The Bengals offense is what's fueling them, and I think this Giants defense is actually better than the Ravens defense. They have Dexter Lawrence, they have Kayvon Thibodeau, they have Brian Burns. That's a pretty intense trio to your front seven. And I think Malik Neighbors scores a touchdown against this absolutely porous Bengals defense. I just think that the defense isn't going to be good enough to hold the Giants from scoring, and their offense is going to get held up a little bit by the Giants playmakers on defense. Go for it, Louie.
Lou Anarumo, my king, what has happened? Rip the days of an elite Bengals defense. I'm taking the Bengals to win still and cover here. I just don't like this Giants team very much, and I know they're on the up and up, but I just still don't feel like after the performance I watched against the Ravens, when I looked at this matchup, my thought is the Giants will never do that. And I still don't like this Giants secondary very much. So give me the Bengals. I think it's a big game for both Chase and Higgins again, but I'm taking Higgins to have the better stat line because I want to keep Chase away from that receiving crown and let Nico Collins have a week off. And then I'm taking Malik Neighbors as my anytime touchdown scorer. Dude, they just force feed this man the ball. 14 targets a game. He's getting in the end zone.
He's just so good, dude. This Bengals secondary will not be able to cover him.
He's honestly really good. But I mean, like, when you mix talent and then just insane volume, like
in good scheme, like Dayball runs a good scheme. I think Wan'Dale Robinson looks pretty good too. Like
Wan'Dale Robinson is a PPR merchant, bro. That dude gets 10 catches a game for 46 yards is like
money. It's money, but like he's a good player on the NFL field to be like a 2 or a slot. Darius Slayton's a decent weapon. Sometimes he has disappearing acts, but they're just a little bit better than what the market says they are. I think. Nolan, go for it.
Bengals to win, Bengals to cover here. I have Joe Burrow as my stud. I think he's going to be a little pissed off that he fell short of beating the Ravens. That's always one of their big benchmarks in that division is to beat the Ravens, and he falls short. So I think he's going to want to go off here. And then I actually have Chase Brown as my anytime touchdown just because they don't know if Zach Moss is going to play or not. Doesn't look great in this situation. Yeah, I know you don't like him, but
he looked washed.
And thus Chase Brown has been stepping up and getting more opportunities. So I think he's a good red zone threat here.
Where go for it, Bahookie?
I had pretty much all the same stuff. Bengals to win, Bengals to cover, Joe Burrow as my player of the game, but no, frick that. Jack Moss is the anytime touchdown scorer. Book it.
He might not play, but
he'll play.
He's gonna play just to piss you off.
Spite you.
Sure. He'll go get 3 yards of carry. Anyway, go for it, Bahookie, on the Jets Bills.
Jets Bills. Bills by $1 billion because they have to. This is not going to be an easy game for either team. Jets are coming home from London, and they're going from playing in like the worst possible turf abroad to the worst possible turf at home.
On the earth.
Literally, man. Literally the two worst fields. Both teams are looking for. Usually, when a team fires their head coach, like the team plays with a little bit of juice the weeks following. But the same thing can be said for the Bills here because like this is a really huge swing game in the AFC East. Bills win this, they get to 4-2 and have like probably a 2-game cushion in the division. They lose this game. They're both them and the Jets are now at 3-3, and the Jets would have the divisional tiebreaker. So I'm taking the Bills here. This is a big spot, and the Bills are the more experienced team, and this is the reason I have them winning the division at the end of the year. I preseason, I said it wasn't going to be pretty. This is a hard part of our schedule, but these are the games that we really need to win, and I expect us to do so. I expect us to get back to basics, get James Cook involved early and often in both the running and passing game. That's when we've looked our best. So I have him as our player of the game. And anytime touchdown scorer, because we need him back, is Khalil Shakir. I honestly am not entirely certain what his status is for this game, but this is another one kind of like Zach Moss. Like this one's maybe a little bit more hopeful, but yeah, Khalil Shakir, please.
Khalil Shakir is an actually good football player, so I agree with this take. Go for it, Nolan.
Bills to win, Bills to cover. Josh Allen is my stud for this game. And then I'm showing tight end you some love one last time for our picks this week. Dalton Kincaid for my anytime touchdown. Get him open down the seam. I think the Jets can be beat through the middle of the field. We've seen it before. The Vikings just did it. So why not get Dalton Kincaid involved?
Word. I have the Bills to win, Bills to cover. I know the Jets might get some sort of bump from getting their coach fired, like the interim head coach motivational bump. But
that's a thing for a week or two usually.
Yeah, I mean, this is the week it would happen since but I just don't think that they have enough. They don't have enough cohesion on offense. There's something just not clicking. Garrett Wilson got 22 targets. Yeah, but he needed those 22 because 10 of those targets were just misfires, like of plays that they could have had, but they just didn't because they're not on the same page. James Cook is my stud of this game. The Jets have been vulnerable against good rushing teams, and the Bills are a good rushing team. They've kind of gotten away from that in their last two games, I feel like, because for whatever they've gotten down quick in both of them. Yeah. And I think that this Bills team can win from behind, but it's really suited to play from ahead and lean on people with James Cook. Josh Allen is going to score a touchdown this game. He hasn't in the last couple of games. He's looked rather ordinary over the last 2 weeks. We start to see more superhero Josh. Not to say that play Khalil Shakir is anything ordinary that he made last week, 2 weeks ago before Shakir got hurt. But you know what I mean? He hasn't been Superman the last 2 weeks. I think he kind of puts the cape back on this week. Louie, how about you finish us off here and give us a little outro or something?
Yeah, so I'm going to go against the grain here, and I will explain why. I'm going Jets to win, so obviously Jets cover, and I will tell you guys why. Because Josh Allen is concussed, okay? I watched this game. That man was unconscious. I couldn't believe they put him back in the game. They can't put him on the injury report because they put him back in the game. But I'm not convinced this man does not have a concussion. I don't think he's going to look right on Sunday. I'd love to be wrong. I think if he doesn't, I think they win this game, but I'm convinced. He was unconscious on the ground. And he didn't look the same once he came back in. He did make another completion in that game. Breece Hall is my touchdown scorer. And Breece Hall is my player of the game, and Allen Lazard is my touchdown scorer.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this. I know we're at the end of the show. I'd love your perspective on that run out to the right side of the field. He became a runner, got tripped up. He was laying limp-wristed face down on the ground. He went into the blue tent, and they said it was for a rib injury. Do you buy that? Like, I think I'm being gaslit here. I could have swore he was out.
They call it, he was pointing at his chest. They called it an ankle and a head injury, I want to say, and he was cleared and came back out. What do I say about that is, I guess there's two different hats that you have on. You have on your like fan hat and like you want everyone to be healthy hat, and then I have my football player hat on, and that's football, baby. My father played college football, and he says he had 6 concussions that they knew about. And unfortunately that's the name of the game if you really want to win. And they said it in the broadcast booth, like when Mitch Trubisky came out there. Could you imagine being the guys in the tent with Josh Allen when he found out that his team was on the field? He was probably better. He was probably ready to start swinging. He's like the ultimate competitor. and
Yeah.
his non-throwing hand is not right now. He's got a glove on or whatever, and he's like, it's fine. I'm not throwing with that hand. Like he's a real football player, and is it exactly ideal? No. Do I trust semi-concussed Josh Allen over
Fully healthy Mitch Trubisky? Yes.
for 9 out of 10 other quarterbacks in the NFL? You bet your sweet ass I do.
I mean, I get it. I do get it.
A week and twice on a day of the week and twice on Sunday. Yes. So
Maybe even 3 times on Sunday.
There we go. Anyways, that's our show.
That's our show, folks.
Monday night, I'm gonna be watching, and if that man runs and gets hit, I'm not gonna have a good time. I don't want him to get hurt. He's one of my favorite players in the league. You can't not love Josh Allen.
Hammer and can at least stiff arm someone or throw a shoulder or hurdle them versus, I don't know, maybe headbutting them.
The two emotion. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I feel like players have to be saved from themselves. And that's how I feel about Josh Allen. He just he loves the game, and that's what you want. But sometimes you just got to be like, hey, man, this one is not worth the season, or this isn't worth the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope he's healthy on Monday, and I hope they don't play him if he's not.
Yeah, that's football, man. There's not always a great answer to it, and it's a
division game. They're closing the gap, so.
And this is a big divisional swing game here. Good luck trying to get Josh to sit out. If he's medically cleared, like, you're gonna stop that man. I'm not gonna try and do that.
Word. Anyway. All right. So that's our show, guys. Go check out all of our articles at stadiumrent.com. Go check out our socials at Stadium Rent HQ. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hopefully you're watching the show on that channel. Make sure you just click that subscribe button before you leave. We'll be back next Tuesday after another excellent week of football. I know that the competition's been a little bit tighter, but I think good football games are still being played. So I'm very, very excited about the next slate and can't wait to see you guys next week.
Bad football is better than no football. Have a great night, everybody.